Okay, this is going to be a short and sweet one. I should have included it with the previous one, but it's its own section in the chapter, so I wanted to keep it by itself. So this is just going to kind of mention what happens when we have disruptions in the immune system. And it can be quite scary sometimes because we appreciate our immune system, but sometimes it can get out of whack. So we'll talk about a few of those things that they do mention in the book. So immunodeficiency is a thing. So our body works hard to fight against all the things, and there are people that aren't able to do that. Immunodeficiency is what happens when you have a failure, insufficiency, or delay of the immune system. This can be very painful, and these people can't fight a response, and it can be quite horrible. Sometimes it is inherited, it's present at birth. Examples of severe combined immunodeficiency disease or SCID. Here is a link to where it talks about it, and it's also been called bubble boy disease because these people have no functioning B or T cells, and if you can't form an immune response, anything can possibly get you. This is one of my, big hypes where I talk about vaccines. Is not just to protect me, but to protect other people too, because some people have a weaker immune system, and if we could possibly prevent them from possibly encountering pathogens from us being affected, why would you not want to do that? So if you heard of bubble boy disease, that is what is linked to when you don't have a functioning immune system. Now, your immune system can go a little haywire too. I've never had to do one of these, but there's certain things you have certain allergies to. Not everyone does. Some people have no allergic response. Some people, it seems, are allergic to everything. They do those dot tests to kind of go through, and they will kind of prick you with all kinds of different things, and then they check the severity of how your immune system responds to it. Now, if you're hypersensitive, you have an excessive response to what's normally considered a harmless substance or a self molecule. This can be immediate, delayed, or due to an autoimmune problem. One thing people think about is allergies. So this is an immediate hypersensitivity in which the antibody immune response occurs within immediate response, and it could be due to a harmless antigen. Pollen is a big one. So our cedar, we're about to enter cedar season, it just triggers certain people's allergies. I always know right before a cold front's about to hit, there's stuff in the air and it kind of triggers, and I can feel like the sinus pressure, and my nose runs a lot. It kind of varies. About 20% of the population have symptoms where they deal with allergies or asthma. And what's interesting, about 55% of the population are going to be specific to one or more allergens out there. The severity depends from person to person. Now, your body does kind of get used to it because you get exposed to it over time. But, if it takes a little longer for its response, it's because your T cells are having to come through and contribute with the response of it too. And the last part of this section is they kind of talked about autoimmunity, and this is quite interesting because there's all kinds of different types of autoimmune disorders. I just picked a few of the ones that were out there, and I actually have some friends that are experiencing this. It's kind of scary. But basically what's happening, we have those cytotoxic T cells are mistakenly attacking your body's own normal healthy cells. Remember, those killer T cells are looking for those bad markers, but now they think some of the markers on healthy cells are bad, so they're going to start attacking like good cells. Now, why that happens, we don't know. Sometimes it's just the way it is. Something's just not wired right within those cells. Some examples: multiple sclerosis, where it will go actually destroy the myelin on your nerves. Lupus will attack multiple organs. And then rheumatoid arthritis, where you're attacking joints, causing immobility because you have a buildup of scar tissue. What's interesting about this, people are trying to study this more and more, and I know it can affect all kinds of different things. I had my boss at UTSA actually had Guillain-Barré syndrome, which was interesting. They throw autism in here too, which I find that quite fascinating. But there's all kinds of different stuff. Skin conditions, psoriasis, eczema, and all the other stuff. So this probably affects more people than you know, but it's still about 5% of the population. But I can already account to, I know one, two right here because my little niece is dealing with psoriasis and eczema right now. So quite interesting. You probably know someone. I think that 5% is a little bit low. So not much information on this one, but here's some videos, and then of course credit for those very few images.